uk@gmail.com. We are here to serve you.
To the Ben Breakfast Show, and like I said earlier on before we went on the break, I said we have an important guest in the studio today. We have the CEO of Gemstone Nation Builders Foundation. Guess who he is? Fela Durotoye. Good morning, Fela.
Hey, morning. How are you doing?
We're really happy to have you.
To be back here again, you know.
Yeah.
I'm honored every time that I'm asked to come
here.
To come.
Yes, and I know you've been doing so many things. It's been really hard for us to get you into the studio because you've been very busy doing a lot of things around. And I just want to throw this to you. I know you've been doing so many things about Nigeria, talking about people coming back to Nigeria. Yeah.
But also focusing on what if you are a Nigerian or if you're, wherever you are, if you're a diasporan, what you can do in your base to help your country.
Yeah.
And why it's important to do so. And we can talk about that.
Okay, then. So, then you just tell us why you came again to the United Kingdom.
Okay, one of the most important reasons why I came to the UK was for an event that I had on last Friday.
Yeah.
And it was essentially a nation builders event, but it was called Business and Nation Building with Fela Durotoye.
Yeah.
And essentially the whole idea was to see and to begin to get the people in diaspora, especially Nigerians, but not only Nigerians, to begin to understand that there is a very critical relationship between national development and economic development. And that nations that are on the path of progress tend to be able to create people that prosper. And we've looked at nations like Dubai or Singapore and said, look, these guys don't have anything, but because they chose to build their nation, not necessarily run from their nation, that that then created the opportunities, economic opportunities and all of that. So basically what I was doing was just helping them see why they, because I guess there are many people who are disappointed with their nation, they're displeased with their nation. Many of them have even gone into despair. There are some of them that they've been literally able to escape the problems of their nation, but somehow they carry it in their hearts. And the point is, look, I always believe that there are 5 things that you never chose. They were chosen for you. Number 1, where you were born. Number 2, to whom you were born. Number 3, when you were born. Number 4, how you were born, with the circumstances or the gender. But the 5th one is why you were born. Now, somehow early in life, you would tend to discover the first 4. To whom you are born, where you are born, all of that. The 5th one is the one that can be elusive for the whole of your life. Why you were born. Why was I born for such a time as this? Why was I born the way I was born? That choice was made for me. Why was the choice made for me? And I think that one of the things I like to say is, you were never born to live in your country. You were born to build your country for the next generation. And once you begin to understand that, then you realize you didn't just inherit a nation from your parents. You actually borrowed it from the next generation. And your responsibility is to give it to them better than the way you inherited it.
Before Chinade throws his own question, there's this 2025 vision you've been talking about. And obviously, can you just throw a limelight into it? Because I'm sure a lot of people want to know. And before I say that, because what Nigerians Chinade, sorry. Okay, should I say Africans? So it's to me like I'm being selfish, right? Okay, let's say Africans. I think we have this thing in our head like, we just don't believe our leaders anymore, in the sense that they just talk and we just don't see things. So when they come and say this in the next something, they'll be like, here we go again. It's not going to happen. But can you tell us about the 2025 vision and reasons why we should actually say, okay, maybe this might work?
Okay. All right, cool. So 2 things. Number 1, a few years ago, I was in a place of prayer. And whilst I was praying, I then heard, I had some kind of a voice. You know how it is, but this is me. And basically just started to engage me on the platform of what now turned out to be the second stanza of the national anthem. And he said to me, my son, do I answer prayers? I said, of course I know you answer prayers. He says, so what will happen if a prayer goes like this? O God of creation. He said, would the Muslims have a problem with it? I said, no. He said, would the Christians have a problem? I said, no. He said, would the traditionalists have a problem? I said, no. And then he went on and said, guide our leaders right. Oh, direct our noble cause. He said, do you know what a noble cause is? He says, a noble cause is something that is worth living for and worth dying for, because it will continue to live after you have left. And then it says, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right. If the leaders got good guidance, will we have corruption? No. Would we have failed businesses? No. Would we have children born out of wedlock? No. You know, help our youth the truth to know. What if the young people and the youth, who are the strength of any nation, got to know what they were carrying, the solutions they're carrying, the capacity for them to be able to bring those solutions to work for their nation? Would we have area boys? Absolutely not. If we grew in love and honesty, would we have people stealing from each other? No. Would we have religious wars? No. Would we have tribal wars? If we lived just and true, he said to me, you know, where the people are just, there's no need for justices or just judges.
Yeah.
Right? And what if we could all aspire to build great heights and lofty heights rather than just personal success? And you know, we were talking about something like that earlier. And he said, if you build a nation where peace and justice reigns, he said to me, what will happen if I answer that prayer? And clearly, that would be like, everything is perfect. Yeah. Then he said to me, do you recognize the prayer? And I thought, what prayer? He says, that's the second stanza of your national anthem.
Yeah.
It's framed into our constitution as a nation.
Yeah.
And he said, I answer prayers, so how come that hasn't come to pass? And it then occurred to me that, well, it was because the people are not praying, they're singing, and most times they don't have to leave out their songs, but they have to leave out their prayers. So he said to me, my son, write this down. And this was 10 minutes past 2 p.m. on November 23, 2004. And he said to me, by December 31, 2025, Nigeria will be undoubtedly the most desirable nation to live in. Now, I know that many people think, yeah. Okay, come on, guys. But the point here is that, in a sense, the most desirable nation is really just a nation that has 5 characteristics. It's a nation where people love to live, love to work, love to play, love to visit, and love to invest. And every nation that is on a hyper drive towards building itself is a nation that people would love to live. It's a nation that work opportunities would be filled. People would love to visit the place. There would be a lot of money. I mean, we looked at Dubai recently. I mean, look at just the Dubai miracle, they call it. In such a short while, it seems like, but that's what happens. Dubai, the ruler of Dubai says they have 3 things: sun, sand, and sea.
That's it.
That's it. So you see that what happens when vision powers that. Now, you now go to the issue that you talked about. All right? You begin to say, well, but we don't believe our leaders anymore, because many of the times they come in. The first thing I'm going to always say is, and I don't know whether you want to stop me now, but the first thing is, leaders are different from rulers. And I think that Africa has suffered from rulership, not leadership. So when we say that our leaders are the problem, no, leaders are not people. Leadership has nothing to do with position of authority, but rulership does. Rulers have subjects, leaders have followers. Rulers subdue their subjects to remain in power. Leaders inspire their followers to be able to fulfill purpose. So most times you find out that the people we call leaders are not leaders.
They're rulers.
They're rulers with positions of authority who are driven by a quest for power, and then they have branded themselves as leaders, getting us to think, we subjects, that we are followers. A follower is not less than a leader. A follower is anyone whose support, whose endorsement, whose capacity the leader needs to be able to achieve the vision. So many times your followers could be greater than you, could be richer than you, but what do we do as rulers? We suppress the people,
definitely.
we depress them, we oppress them. I don't know whether you understand. Meanwhile, the leader seeks to impress them. The leader seeks to enlighten his followers. The ruler seeks to enslave his subjects. So you find out that Africa's greatest problem has been this culture of rulership. We started as traditional rulers many years ago, centuries. Where we should have had royal fathers, we had traditional rulers. Then we had colonial rulers. Who came in and displaced the traditional rulers. And then the colonial rulers left, and around the 60s, we then had this wave of military rulers. And today, military rule has given way across Africa to what you call democratic rule. In fact, one interesting thing was that for 16 years, Nigeria was ruled by the ruling party. PDP. So that was a democratic rule. You see, and so you realize this is a major challenge for Africa. The problem is leaders don't need a position to lead. They just need to have a sense of ownership, a sense of responsibility and accountability. A leader says, if not I, then who? If not now, then where? When? If not here, what can I do to be able to deliver a greater future for my children and the children of everyone.
Fantastic. Just going back to your point on why do we run away from Africa, diasporans? Why do we run away? Why are we scared to go and invest and work collectively?
Yeah.
Now, in your own opinion, I mean, you've got the experience.
Yeah.
Why do you think people run away? And then we always have to find a solution. Okay. What can be done? What can be done to change this mindset of people have actually felt let down by their governments, organizations back home. But what can be done to change this mindset?
Okay, so the first question is, why do people run away? It's just human nature. We tend to gravitate to what you would think of as a comfort zone. And whenever it is that your nation does not offer you the basic comfort of life, you begin to strive to go out. Now, who are the people that get the first access? The brightest and best of the nation. Yeah. Who are the people that should have been building? The brightest and best of the nation. So you find out your brightest minds. When the education system in Zambia or Nigeria begins to collapse, our best students leave. Yeah. Our best lecturers leave. Yeah. When our healthcare system begins to collapse, our best doctors leave. Yeah. So generally, we create a downward spiral. Unfortunately, what happens is those guys were wired with the gifts that they had to build their nation. So when they leave, their heart still is connected. So they're there and they're disappointed and they're angry and they're in countries where things are working and they are working in those places, but they're not happy that things are not working where they're coming from. But the problem is they now think there's nothing they can do, which is where that's the wrongest thing you can imagine. There is always something you can do. And the first thing I always say to people to do is begin to reconnect your heart back to where your heart is already connected. And how do you do that? Love your country again. It doesn't take you more. I'm not even talking about giving anything. Don't give any money. Just begin to love your country again. Now, many people say to me, but fella, how can I love Nigeria after all that Nigeria has done? I said, well, what would you say to me? Just please give me a real. What would you say to a parent who says, I can never love my daughter. She's been raped by 15 guys. What would you say to that parent?
I would say that's not possible because she's
and then you say, but why don't you love her? He says, because she's so beautiful. When she's so beautiful.
Short there, just to let the viewers know that the phone lines are now open. Feel free to call the number flashing on your screen and please pose it for your question.
And so you say the reason why she was raped was because she's so beautiful. And then you hate her because she's beautiful and she's been raped. You didn't protect her. But now that she's been raped, you are saying she has brought disgrace to your home. Yeah. Why was she raped? You say because she's so beautiful. Who made her beautiful? You and God, in a sense.
Definitely.
Point that I'm making is this. Nigeria, Africa has been raped by many of its rulers. And Africans, rather than feel sorry for Africa, Nigerians, rather than feel sorry for Nigeria, are angry with Nigeria. Yeah. Who was raped? And then they're trying to hobnob with the rapists. I mean, it doesn't make sense anywhere else in the world. So you cannot hate your country for your country not developing. You are the reason why that country should have been better than it is today. You are the gift that God gave to that country that should have grown that country. And so once you begin to, first of all, begin to accept responsibility and say, okay, hey, I am created to make my country better. Okay, so let's begin to understand that. So don't hate your country, begin to love your country. The second thing that you've got to do is that you've got to begin to pray for your country. Because you can do that. You don't need any money to pray for your country. You can, most people say prayers in the morning, regardless of which religion it is. Say prayer for your nation. And we have a beautiful Nigeria. And I think that the whole Africa should adopt Nigeria's second stanza. I'm telling you, Nigeria, we need to pray. And you know, interestingly, we started something about 43 days ago called the National Prayer Chain for Nigeria. And it's on Periscope. And what we do is just every watch hour, which is every 12 midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m. We pray on Periscope. Periscope is a live app, is a live broadcast app. And we have 400 people that connect all from around the world.
I'll just cut you short there. We've got a caller from London. Good morning, Felix. Welcome to the BBS show. Please go ahead with your question and contribution.
Hello?
Hello?
Good morning, Felix. Felix, good morning. Are you there? Okay, continue.
Yeah. So, bottom line is that you got to first of all love your country, and then you got to begin to pray for your country, and then the next thing would be speak well of your country, think well and wish well for your country, and most importantly, live well for your country. So wherever you are, think well about your country, wish your country the best. Listen, a great Nigeria is in the world's interest. A failed Nigeria the world cannot bear. A failed Africa, the world cannot bear. Africa currently, this is all the estimates in the world, has 64% of the resources that the world requires to survive in the 21st century.
Wow.
Don't forget, Africa saved the world back in the Bible, in Genesis,
Yes,
right?
indeed.
They said that the world came to Joseph in Africa, right? When there was farming all over the world. Africa saved the world then. Do you know what? Africa saved Christ. When Christ was born and Herod was trying to kill everybody, every child at the age of 2, where did they take Jesus? They took him straight to Africa. Africa saved the world. Africa saved Christianity. Africa is set to save the world again. But we must wake up. Africa gave the world writing. Calligraphy started in Africa. The first university in the world was in Mali, in Timbuktu. So I hope you understand that Africa has been, it's not this dredge of a nation that people have think. Africa has been the savior of the world. And we should start to walk tall as Africans.
Yeah, what about, how can we build leaders? I like
Exactly.
I like
I
the
was
point
about to
of
say
rulership.
that. The rulership, like,
Rulership,
what are we
because
going to do
I'm used
about
to it. I think, you know what, you're quite right, because there's rulership and leadership. And you find it that in the parent, apart from our parents, our uncles, there's this rulership.
Even in the home.
Get up, can you go and do this?
Yes.
There's this rulership and then
Yes.
there's leadership,
Yes.
which is good. So, but how can we in Africa build leadership?
Well, I think that leadership is built 2 ways. Number one, whatever you encourage multiplies. So once leaders, people who are leaders and who begin to understand that, hey, you can do right now. You can take a decision.
We
you
have
can
another
influence.
caller. Sorry.
Okay?
Yeah, we have another caller. Felix, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. Do you want to go ahead with your contribution, please?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, we are listening to you.
Okay, then. Are they going to create, when you say we should love Nigerian, we are true, we are from Nigeria. We are bound to love Nigerian. What do we do to be one?
Okay. All right. So very great question, Felix. And one of the things that I always say is that, as they say, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So if we think the same, we are one, okay? Now, one of the most important things that helps you to build brotherhood is something called values. Your values are the things that guide your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Your values are the things that tell you what is right and what is wrong. Your values are the things that say to you what is good and what is bad. Once we begin to share values, then you'll find out that you do the right thing, not because you're trying to impress me, but what you're doing impresses me. And you don't do the wrong thing, not because you're trying to not impress me or you're trying to protect me, but it just turns out that both of us are staying away from what is wrong because we both agree that what is. So this is what I have to say. Any nation that has common values has the basis for what you call common unity. Because I would not do anything that would upset you because I think it's wrong. And I will do things that will help you because I think it's right. All right? So the first thing that every nation that is going to build community must have is a common value system. Now, who gives us values? Well, you would say maybe government, maybe not, because values emerge from the people. And what has happened is that we've been able to identify 10 values that we believe as a generation that can make Nigeria or any other country great. The truth be told, those values have to be acceptable to every religion, every tribe. So every one of them must say, these values are acceptable to us. 2, they have to be beneficial to everyone that believes in them. Number 3, they have to be things that each person can demonstrate and then more importantly communicate. Okay? So what are the 10 values? And these are the things that are going to help us to be one together as a nation. Number 1, if we agree that individually we will make a positive impact on everyone I meet and everywhere I go.
We have another caller, sorry. Good morning, Amatobi. Did I get your name right?
You got it right.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Are you still there, Amatobi?
I'm still here.
Okay. Do you want to make your contribution, please?
Yeah, Amatobi is my name. Yeah.
Okay.
My question is,
We are listening.
are you listening?
Yes.
Yeah, because the television is blacking out.
Okay. Maybe you should reduce the volume so it doesn't.
My question is, I'm not a believer of all these tribes, Yoruba and Hausa and Igbo.
Yeah.
The reason by believing is there's two tribes in Nigeria, and the tribes of the rich and the poor. Because the actual sense is when a poor man, when a rich man gets to the top, he will reach his Hausa friend in the north.
Yeah.
And he will reach his Igbo friend in the east. But when it comes to things like developmental issues, they will tell you, you're Igbo, you're Yoruba, you're this, you're that.
Yeah.
How are we going to enlighten the poor so that there will be a revolution in Nigeria? So that we are looking for, that change we are looking for, everybody is yearning for, will happen. Because the actual fact, it remains that when a Yoruba man gets there, he will tell you you're an Igbo man. But when you go to the street, the Igbo and the Yoruba shares in the street. But once they occupy posts, you see this issue of Yoruba and the Igbo Hausa Ogoni system comes in. How are we going to write and enlighten the poor so that we will challenge those rulers so that peace will stop once and for all, and we will take it all across all Africans?
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. I think that's a brilliant question, Amatobi, as well as Felix's question, which is really one and the same. I think Felix is saying, how do we unite a nation? Felix is asking, how do we get that message to the grassroots? That's my interpretation of what they've said. And the answers are the same. You unite a nation based on common values. You unite a nation based on a common idea of our purpose. Now, many times people think about why or who brought us together. That's not the important question. It's why are we together today? Okay, what is the purpose of our existence today as a people? And then we need to ask ourselves, what are we trying to accomplish? What is the Nigerian dream? And so for the first time, we have been able to now agree that our purpose is to build a new nation. That is the reason why you are here. That's the reason why you are in existence. That's the reason why I'm in existence. Now, number two, we want to build a nation that our children will be grateful to receive from us and will be proud to give to them. It doesn't matter what kind of nation I inherited from my parents. The most important thing is the nation I'm going to give to my children.
Okay, we have another caller on the line. Good morning, Emeka. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Ben Breakfast Show. Do you want to go ahead with your contribution, please? Emeka.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, can you speak louder?
Hello, do you hear me now?
Yes, faintly, but we can try and pick it. Thank you for calling. Do you want to go ahead with your contribution?
Am I loud enough?
Emeka?
Do you hear me now?
Yes, but if you can speak louder a bit.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, do you want to go ahead with your contribution?
Yeah, basically I've heard the two contributors. All what they said is quite good and right. But the bottom line to all this problem, especially, I must emphasize,
we still can hear you clearly, Emeka.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, my own contribution to this issue is that both prior contributors, they are right in a sense. But where the problem of Nigeria lies is taking the power to the grassroots. We must devolve Nigeria. For Nigeria to move forward, you cannot be talking about unity. The people have to feel that unity, and the way they feel that unity is like what we have in the United Kingdom here. The Scottish having a right to govern themselves. The Wales having a right to govern themselves, have their own, that way people feel that power within them. And that will kind of like diffuse all these tensions we have, ethnic tensions we have in Nigeria. You don't preach peace to
people, you don't preach love to people, they see it. So once that power is devolved, Abuja will not have that over-centralizing power, which gives it the right to determine what happens in every part of the country. When a Niger Delta person sees that oil coming from his backyard is developing his own backyard, he will not have problem to be going to be bombing pipelines. Okay? So the issue here is we should be talking about decentralizing the Nigerian system so that the people at the grassroots feel that power, feel that things that they feel like part of the country. And until that is done, there is no way. If you take out Buhari and put any other person, there will still be the problem there. We need to decentralize the country. That's the only way to move Nigeria forward and practice true federalism. That's the only way you can move Nigeria forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emeka. Did you manage to pick it up? I think he was just trying to talk about centralizing the...
Decentralized.
Yeah.
Again, you said before you continue that rulers don't decentralize. Leaders,
they don't.
Leaders decentralize. Yeah?
What Emeka is looking for is a pipe dream. And for me, what I feel, and why I say that respectfully, is that power is always hogged by leaders, by rulers. Yeah. Now, let us be clear about something. What is going on in the Niger Delta many times has nothing to do with as much of Abuja as it has to do with the traditional rulers of the Niger Delta themselves, who will collect money from oil companies sometimes and not be able to use that money to develop their own people, right? Nobody holds the governors, nobody holds the local government chairman to account and say, how much did you collect over the last... What have you done with it? I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. But more importantly, to me, and I believe that this is basically what has to happen, is that
We've got another caller on the line.
They won't allow you finish.
They won't allow you to finish your point. But let's go. Good morning, Tayo from London. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning. Can I just say, I do pray for Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Tayo.
I love Nigeria and I want us to be one. But the problem is, as soon as we finish praying and someone is being accused of embezzle...
Tayo, please, can you speak louder a bit?
He said, as soon as we finish praying...
And someone is being accused of embezzle money, and you just finish praying, and young people who are supposed to hold Nigerians together carry plaques and be saying they are supporting the person. It really breaks your heart, and you want to turn your back and say, that is it, I'm done with this country. I don't understand what happened to the young Nigerians. Even if they are not educated, sometimes you can educate yourself by reading books and going on the internet and reading what is right and what is wrong, and not allow individual people to control your mind with something that will not benefit yourself or your family or even your children coming. And for the guy that phoned in to say we should centralize and all that, there is no country that will the state will be more richer than the federal government. And when you say centralize, this is the people. You've given a land and you've given the people to them, but they cannot plan something and make up something for the state. And now if you now give them hands to run the police, I tell you what, they will slave our people. It's easier said than done that we are yearning for this. I'm from Akwa Ibom. I see the way our Akwa Ibom governor has taken our people and really making them to become slaves to himself and all the rest of the states that have governors. So this centralized that we are looking for, they will slave our people, they will turn our people to nothing. When it happens, I hope I will be alive to see it, because our governors are not having responsibility on their people. Instead of that, they are having responsibility for their pocket. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Tayo. We managed to pick everything. It wasn't so loud, but thank you so much.
So now there's so much, the questions are literally building, and before one can go, and I'm hoping that I might be able to throw something in. First of all, I think that the point is this, that leaders exert influence, rulers exert power, and they're different. You don't need... influence is the ability to shape the way that somebody else thinks. And she said something that was very important. Tayo said something. She said, once you finish praying, the next thing is you read something that breaks your heart. And it is true. But you know what happens is that you've got to understand that between when you pray, and many times prayers are actually been described as seeds. And when the harvest comes, there's time. but you have to continue to pray. So most times, I don't want you to stop praying. That love in your heart, it's not about those who steal. It's about you who have chosen not to. What you've got to do is to find a way to multiply yourself, build a critical mass of good people, and then begin to connect them. That is what is missing. The wicked people, those who want to steal from government, they know how to connect themselves. Those who don't want to steal, and we are more in number, those of you and I that love our country, that don't steal from our country, that want to do good for our country, we are more than the number of people that want to steal from the country.
Sorry to cut you short, before Tammy just throws in the last dice, time not with us. Yes. Just tell the viewers what you've achieved so far with Gemstone, your organization, just so in one sentence.
Fantastic. So, well, I think the most significant thing we've been able to achieve with Gemstone is that we've defined a value system for Nigeria. And we've been able to identify 10 values that we believe are very critical to Nigeria. Today, over 313 schools in Nigeria have adopted those values. A state government in Nigeria adopted the values 2 years ago, and that's Anambra State, and every single student in that school has been able to live up to those or started reciting those values. There are 10 of them very quickly. Number 1, make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go. Number 2, be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. Number 3, be a role model worthy of emulation. Number 4, be your best. Even if it's not the best, be your best in all you do, particularly the things you're naturally good at. Number 5, do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. Number 6, value time and make the best use of it. So arrive on time, do things on time. Don't do African time because that's how you inherited it. Number 7, care and show respect to all, whether they are greater than you, smaller than you, younger than you, older than you, rich or poor. Care and show respect to all through your words and your actions. Number 8, consciously build a great legacy, starting now, today, and every day. Remember, your legacy is what you leave behind. All right? But most importantly, 3 things you've got to leave behind for your children. If the right values, the second thing is you've got to leave them an environment, a nation where those values can thrive. And the third most important thing you've got to leave them is a good name that can open doors for them to live out those values. And then the ninth thing is live a life of integrity and honor. And the 10th thing is make your family, your nation, and your God proud. And if you want to be able to get these things, just send an email to gemstonecreed@gmail.com. Every one of those 10 things I just sent to you will come back to you as an auto response before this program. Before I'm off air, you will get it back. If you send gemstonecreed, GEMSTONE, gemstone creed, CREED @gmail.com. You will immediately get an auto response. Now we are driving those values through the hearts of our nation. We have across 23 states in Nigeria. We now run trainings that are free of charge every 3rd Saturday. That's what Gemstone does. 56 training hubs, right, across Nigeria. In 78 campuses across Nigeria, they are running trainings. So, what I'm trying to say to you is that it is now gaining momentum. Over 30,000 people in the last 6 months have already signed up and are now trying to teach. So if you want to become one of the people who can teach, and I would say this is the most important thing. If you believe in those values because they are beneficial to you, make sure you share the values with people who are close to you. And most importantly, show the values. So say it. If you email gemstonecreed@gmail.com, get that stuff. It comes there. It's an attachment. You would say it for the next 10 days. You would share it for the next 10 days, and you will show it for the next 10 days. And most importantly, join us on Prayer Chain NG at Periscope. Just Google Periscope and then join us on Prayer Chain NG. And of course, if you go to Twitter or Facebook and you'll see Feladurotoye, if you link there, you'll be able to find how to get to what we're doing. And it's very
fantastic. Well, thank you so much for
very
joining us on the breakfast show. I think I could go on and on and listen to you. I think you're doing something that is not just good, but outstanding.
Yes, it is.
So wish you all the best, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. It was like a lecture, and I just wanted you to keep going, but time will never be on our side.
You get so motivated.
I do. I like to listen to good things.
Good things. You? I love good things. I love positive things. Well, we're still to come on the Ben Breakfast Show. The Africa Cup of Nations, an annual football tournament that's held here in the UK among the African countries, was held last weekend, and the under-17s as well participated. Nigeria winning the last 3 years, but this year we saw a Southern African team emerge as winners of the Under-17, and that was Zimbabwe. So joining us on the BBS show today will be the Zimbabwean coach and captain of the Under-17 Zimbabwe UK team. Stay tuned, do not go away, we shall be right back after this.
On Ben TV, I've actually been on the channel, yes.